So this is so I'll just go over the interface first, so that way you can understand where everything's located. Starting with just if I typed in a market, for example, San Diego County. Now, where everything's located, it's the beauty of this is it's very simple. It's no different than Zillow or Redfin, and it's actually a little bit more. The flow and the user interface is better. So it's all one page, meaning your search filter is one page. If I want to do my advanced search, I could click that filter. This is one page. If I look at these predefined just default buckets they're grouping lists in a certain market, these are all just located right here at the top. Your saved searches that you can swap out for any of these up here on the same page. All the properties that you would say are in auction status in San Diego County, the 335. If I wanted to see that in list view, that's on one page. So everything I'm looking at can just compress and open, and it's all on the same page. So you shouldn't ever really get lost. If I wanted to look at the statistics for the San Diego market, I can review those right here and immediately just see that what I'm looking at very quickly adjusting is on the same page throughout the whole search. If I wanted to go to different sections of the software, meaning the properties, contacts, or campaigns, I go to properties. I'm on essentially the same page. I'm not like changing anything. It's all located relatively in the same place. If I want to pull up the property details, it pops up, and then all the information is on the same page. So you're never really losing where you're at when you're driving through and doing your analysis or finding properties that you'd like to be interested in targeting. So that's the basic rundown. Now we can dive into the properties, the contacts, the campaigns. These are all very simple, and the flow is made to just go in one pretty much line. So you pretty much know what you're doing. And again, you can think of it as starting very big and then getting granular and looking at the details that you really want to hone in on and how you want to maybe reach out to communicate with that homeowner to work with. And then you filter it to your saved properties. So I'd start big, search the market, identify a specific type of house, save that property so I know that I'm keeping track of that property, that I'm interested in it. And then if I wanted to do more analysis on the property, really make sure that that's something looks like it'd be a good opportunity for me to target, I would then want to pull the contact information of that homeowner. And then when I have that contact information, I can then campaign to them in the campaign section. That's the way that you would think about this when you're going through. And again, you've got your list view. If you click on a property that's in a bucket, you've got your badge view right here. If you wanted to pull your details up, this is your property like card view. And then each of these sections breaks down more detail, whether you want to look at the comps, the tax info, mortgage information, whatever it is. If once you set up your reports and documents, you could set that up in here, and you can add documents such as like your contracts and stuff of that nature in here as well. So that's the beauty of this. And then you can even, drop this, you can kind of export information out of here as well too when you're ready to do your analysis. So it's very simple. And when you're running your analysis, it's saved to the property card too. So everything is kind of central to the property. And what we'll dive into right now will be a search. So you can get very detailed with the search. Again, the more detailed you can get, the list that you can run. So you're just in a better situation to get a better response on your efforts. So what you would do is start with, like, I live in San Diego County. I would target probably properties around here just because I know the area. And even if I didn't, I could use Propstream to understand the market and identify what areas I might want to target. Meaning if I was looking at this from a heat map perspective, which they have, I could say, okay, I want to look at the price growth in the last 5 years. If I wasn't familiar with San Diego, now I could see where's the hot spots here in the last over the last 5 years. I can see if I'm looking at estimated value of bedroom, I can see when the heat map, loads in, okay, well, what's hot? Here's the legend, but I can see that this hot section right here, once this loads, obviously by the beach, it's going to be hotter. These are hotter pockets because they're closer to the water. So I know, just looking at this from a heat map perspective, what's going on over here, this area is really hot. You know what I mean? This is Bird Rock area. So this price per square foot or price per like bedroom is going to go up in value. Estimated value per square foot. Obviously, the closer to the beach you get, the hotter the pocket, the higher the value of the property. Now back here is cool. It cools off a little bit. The value in Claremont is significantly different than the value of a property over in Bird Rock. And then you can see as you get off the coast, it cools down. So here's the hot spots, and then as I get back here into East County, Spring Valley area, well, the values of the property go down. You get Coronado over here, the value is hot. So you can just look at any market, and I can identify what's hot, what's not. Like here's Tampa, Florida. And this gives you off-market data that you might not be able to see looking at the MLS. So if a lot of investors would be looking off the MLS trying to negotiate properties and submit offers, that's great. It's on the market, but two, you might not even be looking at the information this way too to identify what's going on. So if I wanted to see price growth over the last, call it 3 years, I can see this area in Tampa. I'm not familiar, but this right in this area, Carver Gardens, the City Lincoln at Gardens area, this is a little hot pocket, So if I was looking to purchase an investment property, let's see over the 1 month growth. Well, I can see it's cooled down tremendously. This over the last 5 years, this area is very hot. Well, it's cooled down, and that might be able to help you convince a homeowner to sell. So if I was going back to, let's say, Phoenix, I'd look at this. And then let's say I want to see the price growth over the last 5 years. Okay. Phoenix has been hot. There's a little pocket right here over the last 5 years. If you bought in this area, it's been hot. If you bought in, let's see, this area in the last 5 years, your equity has likely gone up. Now let's see what it looks like in the last month. It's cooled down a lot. So look, this area right here, overall, it's cooled down in the last month. So if you identify somebody in this little pocket right here, if I wanted to trace around just this pocket, like, whoa, over the last 5 years, this person's got their growth has been very high. I don't know how I can connect this. I could draw into this little section here and then identify, okay, that person who's in this area over the last 5 years, that area has been a little hot pocket, for example, right? I mean, if I bought a house in distress down there, and over time, I can see that the value of this will be going up. So it's just interesting ways to look at different data depending on the situation, and rental values and things of that sort. You can see rent price per bedroom. If somebody was interested in buying an investment property, you could say, okay, well, over in this area in Paradise Valley, it's better for renting, and just that's how you would analyze certain things, just using the heat map. Rent per square foot, it changes. Maybe not. There's just different data that you would be looking at depending on the analysis you're looking to buy. So for Phoenix, let's just clear this search and then look at what we can analyze. We'll just do price growth over the last month. And then I want to filter this and say I want it to be an owner-occupied property that's in pre-foreclosure. And I'm only interested in buying single-family residence and condos, right? I don't want to go worry about maybe door knocking because I want them to be owner-occupied, a multi-unit. And I don't want it to be on the MLS. So is it on the market? No. And I don't really care if it's below market value or not. I just want to try to buy it and I'll do my analysis from there. So I just want to start big and then go small. And then for foreclosure status, if it's in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, I want them to be on the list. If you wanted to look at the document types, you could choose these just to get down to if there's a notice of trustee sale or notice of default. I know in California we have a notice of trustee sale, notice of default. I don't know in Phoenix they necessarily do, but I would want to be aware of that. And then if I wanted to break it down to, obviously I chose owner occupied. So if I wanted to make sure this was any, I could focus on out of state or vacant, foreclosures. I don't really care if it's owner occupied or not. I want to know if it's in foreclosure and vacant. And then I don't want to deal with a corporation. I only want to deal with the individual. You could select that and then narrow your search. And then I could also what I could also do is look at the years of ownership if I wanted to break that down. And then also if I wanted to even see if there was a lien on the property, I could be aware of that. Pre-foreclosure, vacant with a lien. That might be a good list for me to start with. And then the value trend, if you wanted an estimated value, maybe you're only interested in buying houses that are less than 500,000, you could select that. And then if you wanted to break the estimated equity, let's say I want to have it estimated at least 20% equity. So now what I've selected is somebody who is what I just said, owner occupied or not, I don't really care. If they're in foreclosure, I want to target them. I only want to target single family residents and condos that are not on the market. So these are off market opportunities. And I want to know if they're either in pre-foreclosure or their auction has been set, meaning they've got a notice of trustees sale, notice of default list. And then I don't really care when their auction date is. I just want to know, as big of a list as this is with these criteria set first. And if it's vacant, I want to know, I want to make sure it's vacant, has a lien, and it's in pre-foreclosure. So if I applied that list, I've got 4. Now there's 4 properties here that have been tagged vacant that would have a lien and are in foreclosure. So this person's got $1,438 lien on their title, and I can look at that and see what's that for. This looks like the homeowner association has $1,000 lien on their property, and then their foreclosure date, they've got a notice of trustees sale. It was recorded on October 2018, and their auction date is set for just in the beginning of the year. So this person who's got the vacant property that are losing out on $800 a month, maybe it's distressed, and we're indicating that it is right here. That they've got an auction coming up. This is not for sale, and they've got a lien on their property too. So you could contact Lynn and say, Lynn, I know that you live over here in Phoenix. It's possibly that's your mailing address. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's living somewhere else right now and she hasn't changed her tax records. Maybe this person's sick in the hospital, and the mail, United States Post Service said that, we're just delivering mail over here and no one's here. So they marked it vacant, and she's not paying her rent or mortgage. So that's why she's in foreclosure, and she hasn't paid her HOA fees because she's in the hospital maybe. And she needs to sell her house because she's in a distressed situation. So this would be somebody that you might want to save this property and then reach out to and target after you run your analysis and look at the comps. So we can say that this house was built in 1973. So by the looks of it, this looks like it could be a flat roof. And if this is over 30 years old, there's a flat roof, or this could be a condo. I'm not sure. I think this is a condo actually. Yeah, this is a townhome, so it says right here. But if it was a single family residence like standalone, this would be, you know, wow, maybe that roof's really in bad shape. But she's got a condo, so there's no roof. There's probably no roof issue. The HOA takes care of that. There's probably no foundation issue. The roof takes care of that. But we're saying the estimated value is 110, and just looking at the comps that are, let's say 1,600 square feet. Let's say we don't want to see anything smaller than 1,500, nothing bigger than 1,800. Then we got 53 comps. So I might maybe even want to just, I don't want to see anything bigger than 1,700 square feet. Now I've got 39, so I got 34 properties. Average sale price right here is 149, and the average days on market was just over 2 months. Now, this was built in 1973. I could look at these comps, and if I wanted indicate, look, I could see the pins. Okay, well, look, I'm not interested in any other comps outside of these ones. So I want 1, 2. I don't need 3 on there. You know, you could just select what's around here, and I could just easily go click on 10 and say, look, this house is sold for 105, 9 sold for 115, 4 and 6, 120, 138. So they're saying the estimated value is 110, but looking at, I could dive into the comps here and look at the analysis on this property, this one in the same complex, 6, 1 and 2. This one sold for 123. This one sold for 136. They're right next to it, 2 and 3. This property might be a little bit more valued, a little than 110. Now this is just the estimated value right here, and then this is also taking into account the market. And then the average comps, there's 47 comps. There's average is 160. Now, if you wanted to just get very granular and look at this one is 2. This one's not right. This one literally is right next door. It's sold for 120. You could see the details for both of these. And if they were on the MLS, you might be able to look at the pictures and identify, if there was pictures here, I could be able to see what was going on. Was this interior hooked up? Was it tricked out? I'm not sure. So if it was listed on the MLS, you could see that. So let's look to see what's on the MLS nearby. And this number 2 right here is on the MLS. So if there was a comparison, I would be able to see. Maybe there's pictures that I can see the interior, and maybe find out why this one sold for the list price is 142. If we don't have those pictures on the MLS here right now on that particular property, but I could call that agent and find out, hey, is that inside tricked out? Like, why are you listing this for 142? Why am I seeing an estimated value that looks a little less than that on some of these comparable properties? So there's a lot of information that you can look at, but what you might want to target these people as soon as possible by looking at this detail, and then just understanding what situation they're in and how they're better to approach. So this auction date is 11/28, and I don't know if it got maybe postponed or not. This might be a projected auction date, but then their lien amount is for $1,000, almost just a little over $1,000, and then that, okay, well, this person, it's vacant, it's got a lien on the property, and they're in pre-foreclosure. This house was over 30 years old. If this roof is not been adjusted, it's saying it's distressed, you could sell the property. Last sale, they purchased this property at the height of the market in 2006, and so they've probably been paying over market. This value is estimated value. The last sale was 239, so they bought over market value. They're underwater, especially if you were to look at the comp. So what you could do is contact this homeowner and say, look, you've got a lien on your property, you're in foreclosure, you're paying over market value. When is enough enough? When do you want to sell this property and just walk away from this and then get into something that makes sense for you? Your roof is messed up, you're not going to be able to sell it on the market, just take my cash offer and just walk away. Just get out of here. You could approach these homeowners a lot and a lot more confidence knowing that you can see their mortgage information, their transaction history, and know like what situation they're in and how to communicate that, than by not looking into these details. So this looks like a very good list. Like if I wanted to target this list, I might want to save this, and I would name this Phoenix AZ, and I'd say SFR condo vacant and in pre-foreclosure, NOT. Right, and if I wanted to include this on the home screen, I could click this button and replace one of these bucket lists that are just defaulting. I kind of like having these up here just because they're just giving me a giant reflection on the market. I can just see, on the MLS, there's 52,000 properties that are listed, 305 foreclosures. So I just get a big view of the market in Phoenix. I kind of like having that. But if you want to include this particular list that I just created and then replace one of these, you'd click this box and then just choose which one you wanted to replace it with. Right, so I don't want to do that. But then I also want to say email when new properties become available, and I'd say absolutely, I want to know that. Just send me a daily email and click save. And then what that means is now this is a saved search, and I would look at here's the vacant NODs. There's 4 total, and then anytime a new one pops up with this criteria set, I want to know, and that would send me an email. So I know that, okay, this is a very highly targeted list that I want to spend a lot of detail looking into and time. I want to spend some energy identifying what I can do to make this a deal for myself, and then email me every day, once a day, when that pops up, and then I'll just take care of those. These are my new like prospects that I'm going to target and reach out to. So you can see in my created list that I've already set up, I've got 3 new ones in Riverside County that are in notice of default or notice of trustee sale. I've got 13 brand new ones. I didn't put that much detail here in the section, but that's in San Diego County. There's 1,056, and this is total. These are total prospects that fit that list that I created. And then as of today, there's 13 new ones. So if you look at just the calendar year of what most people, investors and agents, will do, is what they would do is they would go in here and then or generally they might just get a list from their title rep, and the title rep's like, yep, here's all the foreclosures in San Diego County that are single family residents. There's 1,056. And then, okay, great. Well, then they just sent me that list in a CSV file. That's a static file that's not updating. So the day they pulled it, so if I just pulled this today and sent it to somebody in an Excel doc, it doesn't update. It's not updating after I send it to them because it's static. Now it's not connected to the source where the data is getting pulled. So because it's connected with all the boutique data providers and also in other, with all the city tax, like title reps and all that, or not title reps, but tax assessors and all that information, you get updated. So not only am I being updated when a new property fits my criteria, but I'm also being updated when, they're out of foreclosure, because that's also something that I'll know, because if they get their foreclosure, their default paid, and they're no longer in foreclosure, well, they're not going to be in my list anymore. It falls out, or at least I can tell that's no longer in the list. So you can create you can create infinite amount of lists and segment them in many different ways. But for these 4, these would be 4 that I'd be highly interested in targeting. And maybe I want to reach out, place a phone call, do a voicemail, maybe send a piece of mail to them, and maybe even go door knock them too. So I could do all that. I could do 4 of these in the same day, and know that I might have a high chance of getting a response from one of them, and then hopefully an opportunity to work with them instead of me blanket marketing 1,056 like some investors would. If you do something like that, you say you pull 1,056 contacts, and then on the first, say you give your mail house, your proof of letter. Well, then they get back to you, they say 2 days. They send you, say, hey, does this proof look good with the copy you wanted? And then these are who you want to mail to. And you're like, yep, that looks good. Then you pay them. Well, then they don't get that fulfilled till, call it the 8th or 9th. They need a couple days to fulfill 1,056 mailers. And then if you're not using first class postage, then they finally say drop that in the mail on Wednesday. And then takes 14 to 27 days for the United States Post Service to get that to your prospect. So that means, okay, call that maybe by best. If you do first class postage, it's called like the 16th. Now, then that means your mailers didn't drop till the 16th, but you pulled that list. Maybe your title rep pulled it on the 31st. So from the 1st to the 15th, you were not targeting any brand new prospects that fell into your bucket. And when he pulled this list on the 31st, a number of information could have changed until the 16th. You know, like they could have caught their default up. They could have been already, there's a number of things that could have already happened. So, you know, the value in having that information at your fingertips here and knowing what status changes are going on helps you, and it saves you money. So it might seem like you're paying a premium because you're paying $97 a month for this data, and then you're paying, you know, say call it $1 with first class postage, but you're only mailing 4 people. You don't need to be mailing 1,056. You know, if you look at all of the new leads I have in my list that I've already set up today, there's 4, there's 17, there's like 25. There's 25. I got 25 brand new leads today in several different markets. So that means that I could place 25 phone calls, leave 25 voicemails, send 25 emails, send 25 text messages. And if I was very ambitious, I could probably go drive 25 doors in one day and knock on them 2 at the same time. And chances are I'd be able to get a hold of one of those people and then at least offer them an opportunity to help at least save their house, or take a cash offer, and at least just know what options they have, whether they wanted to list it with one of my agents, or if they wanted to take one of my cash offer, you could do that. And then at least they would be loaded with information that would help them make a decision. So because these 4 properties seem of massive value, like a good opportunity for me, I want to select these 4 and I want to add these to my list, because what I'd be doing, for example, is I'll save them in a list, and then I'm going to be saving these properties. So if I click here and I want to save these properties, I'm going to save. I just save these properties to my properties list. I want to add to group optional. I want to create a new group, and I already have this group actually created, Door Knock Divorce Arizona, but I want to create a new group. Well, these are vacant with liens, so maybe I don't want to door knock them. Let me do that. Let's just say Arizona mail list, vacant mail, target list. I want to target this list. They're the Arizona vacant list to target. So I want to save that. And now their properties are saved. So I have 4 properties saved to Arizona vacant target list. So if I go to my properties now, you can see I've got my Arizona vacant target list right here. So I want to target these 4. So what I've done now is I've moved them. I searched them in the search filter. I started very big in a city, and then I used advanced criteria to get down and whittle to 4 very highly targeted ones that might be very motivated to sell. I've saved that list. I labeled it. So if there's any changes or any new leads that come in, it falls in and it alerts me. And then I've also put those into my list to target. And then now I know I want to run my vacant, pre-foreclosure list to people in Arizona. And I'm going to select these 4, and I would add to a group. Now I can create a new group, and this would be in a marketing list, right? I would create that. I'll create a new group, and I'll just land this, Arizona vacant target list group, and I'm going to save that. And I've saved that in there. And now if I go to the contacts, I can move my properties here from my target, and I can add to a group, or I can add to list. And I want to add this to a new list, and I'm going to do Arizona market vacant target list, save. So I've saved them in a group and in a list, right? So now what I can do is go to contacts, and if I want to move in a list, add new, I can do my Arizona vacant target list, now create. Now there's my new list. And then I would move my contacts from, I would move those from here. So my group, Arizona vacant target list, there's just 4 of those. I guess I didn't move them right into my group that right way, but I would move those from the properties into that group, right? And then I would mail to them right through there. So this is my marketing list that I want to market to, and I want to add these to, I could export them and I can upload them. Now I've got a CSV right here. I've just exported, into a CSV. So if I wanted to give these to my mail house, I could do that. If I wanted to just keep them in an Excel file and give to my VA, I don't have to have my VA working out of here, tweaking with my list. I could just have her focus on those, so she doesn't need to be changing my list or anything that I've set up. Now, then when you're ready to move from your groups to your marketing lists to whatever it was, you then select which contacts you'd want to pull into. So here's all my contacts, right? I'm going to clear this list. I'm going to go to all contacts, and I could easily decide which type I would want to market to. So say I just wanted to, now out of my 8,600 total contacts that I have in here to pull from in my saved properties, say I wanted to append all that data, or if I could, I could realistically do 4 if I wanted to, but I think you have to append a little bit more than 4 contacts. But then if I wanted to just, okay, here's all the properties that I'm interested in purchasing or buying or marketing to, what I want to do is I want to append that person's info. So for 8,649 contacts, I might want to pull 1 phone number and 1 email from each. And then I'd like to exclude the numbers that pull on the do not call list, so I'm not wasting my time calling them because they're on the do not call list, and hit next. Then what I could do is I'd pull that $500 for 8,600 phone numbers, emails, mailing addresses, and contact information. Now, if I just place that order now, what would happen? I don't want to buy 8,000, but what if I did? What would happen? And their email would populate, their phone number would populate, and now I would have the homeowner's contact info and email, and I can immediately move them to the campaign section, and I could add a new campaign. And this would be Arizona vacant target list. This is the group Arizona vacant target list right here. These are my favorites. Now I want to add this. I want to save this, and I want to set up a website form right now, right? So now I want to have a squeeze page set up for this person when, if I send them a voicemail or send them a email, or if I send them a piece of direct mail, I want to also have a squeeze page set up, so that way if they don't feel like calling me, maybe they do feel like visiting my website. So some people like communicating in different channels, so maybe they would rather email me about information and keep a little bit of privacy about their foreclosure situation rather than picking up the phone and calling. So you would set the squeeze page up. If I wanted to save the custom squeeze page that I set up so it's available for me to pull as a template later, I would just check this box. If I wanted to start with a blank website, I could, and then build my website with the builder. But for right now, I just want to start with the predefined website. This one that they've got set up looks good. Now I click that button, and then here's the background image of my squeeze page. We buy houses, fast fair offer today. We pay cash for your home, any price range, location, condition. Now all this homeowner might have to do is enter their name, email, phone number, and just a brief message, hit send, and I'd get notified. So if I publish that, I would have, for this Arizona vacant target list, I would have this squeeze page set up, publish that, and then I could immediately start, sending them a ringless voicemail. So I go to get started. What I would do is I would select a caller ID that I wanted to route my numbers back to, whether that was with a call rail number or your own personal number. You could go ahead and drop that in there. Say if you had a VA or an answering phone service, you could put their caller ID in there, and then route the calls to them or make it look like the outbound call came from that number. And then you could custom record a number, or edit a recording or add one. You can upload your own file or create a new recording. It doesn't matter. You could obtain an audio pen and record from your phone, and then drop that recording right in there, or just use one that you've already got pre-recorded. And then you could select your schedule. If you wanted to edit a schedule, you don't want to call them on Saturdays and Sundays, or maybe you do. You could adjust, or you don't want your caller to be outbound. You don't want the voicemails to be going out after 5 p.m. You could adjust that and say, no, I'm okay with calling people at least till 7:30. I could adjust those times, how I chose, saved, and then I only want, there's only 4 callers in here. Let's just call let's just call them, all 4 of them every 15 minutes, because maybe what would happen is it starts calling 4 people, and then, I leave a voicemail and then immediately get a phone call coming back. Well, I've got at least maybe 15 minutes before I send another voicemail out. My phone's ringing again. So you can do that after you append the contact info. If you could do it for 4, that's what I've got set up in this campaign, or you could do it for 8,000. You want to be able to adjust what you could in here, and then just be prepared for the response. And then you could be doing the same thing with your postcard. So they've got 2 postcards in here, 2 different, a standard size or jumbo. So I want to use the standard. If I wanted to create my own using their postcard builder, I could check this box. I don't, let's say this is what they've got set up in here for default. But right now I want to start with a custom one. For example, this works just like the email builder and the website builder. If I just hit done, now this is my custom. Let me browse images on my computer. And I want to use, that's a picture of me and my brother here. I want to put that on there and say, if I wanted to type something, I could. I'd say, I buy houses. We buy houses. And then, I'd be fine with that. If I wanted to put the same image up here on the front, I could. Say I want a screenshot of this. And then I could, there's my postcard. Wouldn't get a very high response rate, but you could mail that out there, print and mail directly from the app. But if I wanted to edit this, I very well could, and then change it back to a default. And then the same thing with the emailer. You just got to put a subject line, a click-through URL. You can start sending emails immediately once the campaign is published, and set your times. And then if you want to start with a blank email template, you could, or start with a predefined email template. You could use this, and then you just got to put your subject line and information here to be done, and then underway. So from within one tool, what you could do is literally search, hot markets with the heat map. You can then get more granular by looking at certain detailed property characteristics or information you might want to filter down to that's suited to your investing strategies or buyer needs. And then once you've identified the properties that you're interested in targeting, you save those so you keep track of the property and they don't fall into different marketing lists. And then what you would do is you would append that contact information. Say you get it down to narrow your search down to about 4 prospects, then you would narrow that down and then put them into your contact section. And then once you had their email and phone number and you were ready to run a campaign, you migrate those lists into your postcard, your ringless voicemail, your emailer, and then you set up your squeeze page, and then you publish the campaign, and then you just wait for your phone to start ringing. And then when your phone starts ringing and you start getting people calling you back, and after you're done doing your your seller appointment, then you can start getting into your more advanced analysis. So we generally know, yep, we're interested in targeting or buying those properties. These people are motivated. And then what you can do is now you can start running your more advanced analysis. So say the homeowner on Douglas Ave calls me back. I've got an appointment. Now I can run my comps. I can, do my desktop analysis and then look at all my estimated values and then understand what comps I want to use when I go into my appointment. And then what I can do is prepare all of those, that information, and then the documents and reports. And then I would run I would get my reports ready by running my analysis. So if you're an agent and you're representing somebody by a home buyer, you could put that as their personal property, and that's not an investment property for them. If you're an investor and you want to run an investment, it automatically pulls in the amount of default because we know that it's in foreclosure. And then I could put my estimated purchase price. This is telling me the estimated market value. And then I could break down my details of the rehab if I had these broken down. If I generally knew, just being on the phone with the homeowner, they said that their AC was broken. They need to do, their bathrooms are outdated. I could easily just drop these numbers in over the phone when the homeowner's calling me back. I could just use their estimates if they're open or have a strong knowledge of what needs to be done. Just if they're once they're filling you in, so you could save that information, and then you could get the mortgage details in here. You can plug in what your analysis would be based off your own numbers. You could look at the income with the detail broken down by units. You could add your miscellaneous fees. So if you're a wholesaler and you're wholesaling to a buy, fix, and sell investor, you could plug in their numbers so you had a reasonable idea of what their projected return would be, minus your wholesale fee. And then you could basically take this and shop this around, or have a very, very detailed numbers for buy, fix, and sell investor to make a quick decision. So that way when you bring him a property, he's ready to perform. And then you can add the expenses, and then look at the sale amount, adding the details you'd want. If it was, purchase price, all this information you can, click through and change just based off your investing strategies. And then you're finished. And you get, once you save your numbers inside the analysis, you save and finish. And then if you downloaded a report, say I wanted to look at the mortgage analysis, or if I wanted a complete analysis, I could use these to go and negotiate with the homeowner or agent, depending on my analysis, or just simply supply the homeowner with the information so that way they can make a decision and see what you're seeing on your end as a real estate professional. And then you can quickly keep track of that information and analysis, and then have all the reports that you would want right here on the property card. And you could save it or always just start a new one. And then you can upload files to you can upload and just save your reports and documents right here. If you needed to buy an assessor map or get information to do more of a development play, you could do that right from within the app too. And then what you would do is also, if you're an investor and you're looking to rehab, you could go to the rehab calculator and then plug in the rehab calculator tool to get more dialed in on your repair costs if it looks like you're in the ballpark for the homeowner taking a cash offer. So you go, and now you're in your contingency period, you got to run your analysis, you got a home inspection done, or you walk through the property and you got a good idea of what you're going to need to do. You can enter in your estimate and the project costs. And I could open an existing project. For right now, I'm just going to say this is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. And then what I would do is I would estimate a new project. It pulls in the information it's pulling in the square footage information from tax records. And then you could add and manipulate what you wanted. So you could search by popular projects that they've already got the cost allocated for, or search by individual actions. If I wanted to do that, I could be very detailed with if there's acoustical ceilings that I need. Might want to go in here, and I could say, I need a whole T-bar system, and I'm going to need I'm going to install it. And then you can go next, install acoustical ceiling bars. I'm going to do it better. You could get very detailed per truckload, and I'm going to do that in the kitchen. I could do that if I was going to go back and just search by, that was just a quick, I know I was jumping through that really quickly, but that was obviously I wouldn't be putting acoustical in a ceiling, but just to show you that are available in there. I want to search by popular projects. Let's say I just know I'm going to have to deal with the kitchen. The kitchen's outdated. I need to rehab that. And I know I need to do the cabinets and countertops. And it's a replace cabinets and countertops. And it's a large kitchen and it's got an island. And is it a low, medium income grade or luxury house? Let's say it's a luxury house, and let's say it's better. It's in El Cajon. What other areas do I need to do? I know I need to do the exterior grounds of the property, or I could add that to the estimate, and then I would jump in here, and so the project details would break down what I needed to do in the kitchen to replace what I suggested in the saved project. And then if I, knowing also that the exterior grounds is also something I need to do in here. So here's a project summary. If they were estimating it, what I would need to do the kitchen and then the grounds with my own money, this might be 30 grand, which is about right. It's about $25,000 for a kitchen, plus call it $5,000, $6,000 for a landscaping is pretty reasonable. And then you could also change the project details if I had a house, or if I did the whole house with the roof, I might be wanting to edit that as well too. You know what I mean? So I could easily go back here. I could also add that to the report, but it breaks it down essentially whatever details you wanted to dive into. You would have this to give to a contractor, so you could give, hey, look, realistically, this is what I feel that the quantity would be I need for the rehab, and this is what I imagine the total would run relatively around. So this is what my estimate was, and you could give this to your contractor to keep them honest. So that way, like, look, I mean, I don't know what your labor and material costs are, but this is what I'm estimating on my end. Let me make sure that we're on the same page here. And then you could use this rehab analysis for your own numbers or to negotiate with your contractor. And then you can, of course, save that rehab to the property card, and then know that you've got all your documents stored on here. You've got your analysis, you got your information, you got your contact info, and you've run all your campaigns directly through the same system. So the beauty is that you could, with a tool like this, we've jumped from Tampa to San Diego, and then I'm also now, if I wanted to save lists in these markets that I thought were hot, or even Denver, I could jump through 5 or 6 different big markets that I know are good for me to invest or allocate my marketing resources to, look at all the analytics, save all the properties, and not have to be learning multiple MLSs or even know agents in that area, or be in a different, title rep or anything of that nature to get the data. I've got all the data. I've got all the tools to do my marketing. I've got all the ways to organize, and I've got all the ways to run my analysis right within one application. So it's it can be overwhelming. You don't need to use every tool within this. You can. You don't need to be in every market, but the ability, if you wanted to grow and scale very quickly, this tool, you can do everything that you need from within it. And that's the whole tool in full.
Dude, that's awesome, Jeremy.